And welcome to yet another episode of Feature Creeps, the show where distinguished software engineers talk about software and apps. I'm your host, Johnny, and here's your other host, Joao.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to another episode. Welcome, Johnny.
Hi, and today we're going to be using a tool that is very useful for finding out where you are in the world. Joao likes to travel quite a lot. This week is in London again, but last week I think you were in Scandinavia. And Google Maps is super useful for checking out all the places that Joao is going. And I'm not quite traveling as much, so I live vicariously through Joao and Google Maps.
Yeah, traveling everywhere in the world, Google Maps is super useful. I could essentially spot that in Finland, where we were really in the middle of the country and we could use Google Maps easily for directions and everything. So, yet another use case for it.
So Google Maps changed how we escape from our lives and we see other places. But a big part you touched on is the navigation part. I remember initially when it started, it was saying don't use this for navigation and don't use this definitely when you're driving. But I did find very early on, I was using it for navigation. I was using it when driving and when walking and cycling and that sort of thing. So I'm sure that had a huge impact on Google Maps' success. Even though the satellite view and the street view and all of that also looks cool, so it's something you can just do to hang around, I think quickly its usefulness became on how easy it is without having a dedicated navigation system like a MapQuest or whatever else we were using back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's much easier now than it was before.
And it's slightly different to Google Earth, which has like cooler views of what you're seeing, like more 3D views. When you pan, you can kind of see the buildings going around. And interestingly enough, Apple Maps does have this built into their Maps navigation system, but Google Maps is just here's the 2D version of the word, and let's help you get around from point A to point B, I suppose, or get a feel of what your street looks like.
Yeah, I think that's a good difference between them.
And we have been living for many years with Google Maps since around 2005 when it came about. And one of my favorite bits of the podcast is when you take us to a world back in time, I guess, a trip down memory lane. What was the world like back then when Google Maps wasn't a thing and started becoming a thing?
Yeah, this is a fun bit of Feature Creeps, I guess. We look back in the world in 2005 and a few pics here from what was happening in pop culture and all around that. We had Star Wars Episode 3 released on that year.
Oh, the last
Revenge of the
prequel
Sith.
trilogy, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, exactly. Big year for Star Wars fans. We had Green Day's American Idiot, an iconic album in music. And we also had Intact YouTube being founded in 2005. So as well as Google Maps, YouTube came alive.
Nice.
And it's a big year for the internet. It's a big year for Web 2.0, which is the essential of Google Maps and YouTube.
Nice. And do you remember what it was like going around to places back then? Like I remember with my dad, we did used to do a bit of boating and selling and that sort of thing. We had like literal maps, like cartography maps and sections. But going around from place one to B, going around for drinks with friends or to a friend's house, you'd need to have someone tell you, all right, you go down that street, then you see that mall, then on that tree you turn left. And I was always terrible with that. And I think Google Maps changed this for me and made me more able to arrive in places on time without getting too lost.
Absolutely. The advent of Google Maps and GPS was just life changing in terms of travel and directions and getting around. Travel planning used to take much longer. You would have to like sit down for weeks, like, well, okay, where we are going, what we're doing, and look at like paper maps. Maybe, the internet was around 2005. I guess you could find paper maps online, but you wouldn't be able to see like live directions or see the map on the spot, which makes travel nowadays much easier. You just go and just open your maps, and then you have like real time updates of everything. So back then, paper maps, information centers, asking strangers for directions on the streets, or being base your navigation on landmarks as well was something you would look and say, oh, it's 2 streets away from London Eye, or 2 streets away from Big Ben, and things like that. So yeah, and it's just so much. It was just so much harder to get around. Imagine when I look back when my dad was driving inside Brazil for like 10 hours in the roads. It was just relying on the signaling in the road, and his knowledge of the country and studying the maps beforehand, so he could drive us for many hours without Google Maps or navigation or real-time information of road blockages and things like that. So it was insane when I look back, but it looked pretty normal back then.
Speaking of dads, I remember the pro tip from my dad when he was trying to teach me how to navigate around in the car and putting in landmarks. He was saying, oh, after that huge tree or after this parking lot, then we turn left. And I was like, oh, we can say that after this van, we need to turn left. And he needed to explain that, no, you need to mark things that are going to be there tomorrow and next month. You shouldn't base yourself on when you reach that lady, then turn to the right.
Yeah. So you also many other things changed with Google Maps, such as public transport, for example, in big cities, and most cities, I guess, nowadays will have the timetables on Google Maps and real-time updates even. So you would have to know your timetable or look at online or look somewhere for like printed timetables of public transport. It's crazy. And trying to see opening times of restaurants and places and museums and attractions. It was, you could go into the website, but it was, rarely places would have websites created for them. So,
and even if they did, like you said, with the directions, you wouldn't have that easily accessible on your phone, even then. So even for map instructions and stuff, you'd be printing out the table that says, all right, at this point, at this marker, you need to turn left or right and then go to 3 kilometers on this highway, and print it out and have your friend on the site tell you now it's time to go left. Now we're always online. We can see those update in real time and use our own location in real time to know that, oh, it's like in 500 meters we need to turn left. We have Siri or whoever assistant we're using tell us nicely that it's time to turn.
Yeah. And yeah, when I reflect on that, I feel like people would know better directions in general. Like general knowledge of getting around was better without GPS, because people had to remember places and had to pass along that knowledge from memory, which is now very different.
You can ask any of my friends if I've gotten better or worse at navigating and getting or receiving or giving directions, and I'm sure they'll all say that I've always been abysmal and will forever will be. So I do love having this crutch of technology, at least, where if I am able to get online, then I will be able to reach the place that I'm going to.
Yeah, when there was one situation when I was in Stockholm and I hired a bike and my phone ran out of battery, and I was cycling to the office in Stockholm, and it was my like third day in Stockholm going to the office, and I didn't know exactly the direction of how to get there. So I had the options to ask someone, but I was on the bike. I was like, I think I can get there because I know the bus number 2 goes there. So I was just going from bus stop to bus stop, checking out the bus number 2 stops here. So next one, until I got to the office. So I just followed the tracks of the bus, and I felt like alive. I felt
like you were in the tunnel and you were managing to roll high on your survival and nature sex and managed to figure it out. On the contrary, I do remember going to the office in New York and cycling there, and I was like, it's New York, like it's the US, everything is easily signed as 15th and 14th and 13th, everything's in the grid, it's easy to go around, can't mess it up. And indeed, when I tried to be brave and not use the navigation to remind me when I need to turn, I did forget and end up a few blocks down and was slightly late in the end.
Yeah, but also in general, the times that I defied Google Maps navigation and say, I know better, I'll go that way, they were all mistakes from me, because Google knew better, knew there was a blockage, knew there was something going on that stop me from going on the route that I thought I knew better.
And it's gotten better over time. There were other startups and like dedicated apps like Waze that were specifically made for drivers that would pick up whether there was an accident, whether something will be slowing down. But Google seems to have absorbed all of this and is able to even correct for how fast I walk. But the one thing it doesn't manage to correct is how slow I cycle. It always expects that I'm going super, super fast. And I think if it's uphill and I'm telling Google that I'm cycling and I'm actually on an electric bike, that's when the time is accurate. But on all other situations, when it thinks I'm on a regular bike and I'm just going downhill, it's like 2x time that I need to get there.
Yeah, and maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist on that feature of Google Maps, but I think it shows different times depending on you who is using in terms of walking and cycling.
Yeah,
Maybe you can
definitely.
adapt. Yeah.
You can even manually say how tall you are or what's your stride, and then you can fine tune it. But I think that may be ignored. I think over time it learns that actually it takes
Yeah.
you that much time. But for walking, it has improved. For cycling, it never knows. I don't know. It keeps believing that I'm gonna get better at cycling.
Yeah, maybe it just believes in you. Just
Google
trying
believes
to
in me like no one else.
push you to beat your times, your own times.
So we've talked about a few of the Google features. One you kinda mentioned, but not really, and it's definitely one of my favorite features, is being able to see when some places, establishments are open or not, and by proxy whether they're any good, how they're rating at Google, and that sort of thing. So I think lots of people are using Google Maps for that as well. What's around here? What's within a reasonable distance of here that is open right now and maybe good? And then you pick one, you show to your friends, and you go there and you have a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is potentially the feature that I most use on Google Maps. It's knowing, discovering places, the discoverability of restaurants, the discoverability of things to do, photo spots, or anything like that. It feels like it's a go-to place when you're traveling, and I'm reflecting back into how was that before. People would just rely a lot on recommendations, which is similar in a way, but now we rely on like a more a better sample, I guess, like more people just recommending a place. But maybe you still consider a lot of like mouth to mouth recommendations nowadays. But still, before, I think the travel agencies, when I walk by and I see a travel agency, I'm like, what is that for? Why do people even need this? And now reflecting back, it's like, yeah, I think they would actually be quite useful without Google Maps
So
traveling.
for organizing trips, as you say, for seeing what's actually open now, what's available, definitely Google Maps and similar apps are hard to beat, impossible to beat. Like humans are never going to be better at telling you, will this place be open at that time? But as it comes to reviews, then at that point it gets a bit hazy. I do find that sometimes I can go to a Google Maps high rated place and I'm not going to like it. And conversely, that I'm going to go into a more mid place and I'm actually going to love it. And that one supposedly has the taste maths as well, that's trying to understand what I like. But I find that's not as good, especially when traveling to places that are way different than maybe the core Google Maps audience. Like the selection bias of who leaves the reviews is like people that are willing to use Google Maps here are probably maybe tourists, maybe British or American tourists. And maybe that's not my taste profile, so I'd rather see reviews just from the locals, which usually you can only do if you were to do the thing you did in Japan, which is crash a few bars and make a few connections and then ask what's the real good stuff around here.
Yeah. It took me a while in Japan also to understand how people review things. And I think this is everywhere I travel. People have different thresholds for reviews. Like in Brazil, for example, you see higher rates. You see something between 4.5 and 5 a lot, and with a lot of reviews, because I feel like culturally people feel bad of being like a lower than 4 review. And in Japan, people didn't feel that bad of giving a lower review. And the way they reviewed restaurants was more, I think the biggest criteria they had was based on value for money. So it was like, it could have been like an amazing food, best food in your life, but if it was a bit more expensive than general, than average, they would give like lower rating. So it's always about the value for money. So it's like, if it's super cheap and the food is slightly above average, the place would have like super high reviews. So this is like a lot of cultural differences and reviews for sure.
Interesting. Something I learned recently is that the Michelin star reviews never base on the presentation in theory. Like, of course, chefs will say that you also eat with your eyes first, you see the food and you salivate, so the presentation must matter. But in the guidelines for the Michelin restaurants, it's never how does it look, how was the service. It's all about the food that you have in front of you. So I guess on those places, it would be what's the quality of the food, but also what's the value of the food. Am I getting more for less? And that would lead to higher ratings.
Yeah, exactly. And with the photos, that's something I use a lot as well. Just Google Maps is all about Web 2.0, as we said, and it's user-generated content, and it grows like crazy every day. People just post pictures and reviews and make it more useful, I guess, with all the generated content. And something for restaurants is to see the picture of the food, see like the dishes and how they look like, because normally menus wouldn't have pictures, although it's something I love when I go to a restaurant and a menu has pictures. And you go and you open Google Maps and see how does this dish look like, and probably someone took a picture of it.
Yeah, on the menus, it's like it needs a spoiler alert, like a spoiler button. It's hidden by default if you want to be surprised on how it looks. But if you want to know, then you click this and you see what happens. And of course, it's very useful because you can see what is recommended, what the people leaving the reviews actually ate. And it's an actual real person that took the picture. It's not like a stage photo backstage with great lights, maybe different ingredients, like propping things up. It's a real thing. You see it. If it looks appetizing, you order, then you're happy.
Yeah, exactly. So Google Maps is way more than just directions as we start diving in, but it is, I guess, the biggest point of sale for them is the directions and getting people around in traffic or in public transport or in any other way possible.
So clearly, if we didn't have Google Maps and similar, like our life would change dramatically. But what would you say is the top one feature? Like if you could only have the navigation or you could only have the user reviews, which one would you pick? Or maybe something else other than those two?
You can't replace navigation, right? Navigation, it's it must be the best feature, like getting you around and have like there's this real time updates and knowing if the roads are open and knowing like the timetables and things like that. So
All right, navigation.
when I say yeah,
navigation without knowing whether the place is going to be open or not. So separating those two, like whether the opening hours is a separate feature to the navigation, how to get there. So which one would you pick from those two?
It's a very difficult choice, but I would say I would choose navigation, because the others we can somewhat replace, maybe with some other tools and maybe with less friction by calling a place how it used to be before. Are you open? And I think navigation is the essential bit of Google Maps there.
I agree. Without navigation, I wouldn't be able to make it to the place in time before it closes anyway. So it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Any other top Google Maps features that you'd like to highlight?
I think we highlighted quite a few good ones. The fact that we can review anywhere, it's great, but it's also really weird. I saw a review today of the Norwegian Sea, and
Whoa.
someone said, "Nice sea, very salty, 5 stars."
So let's see where I'm from. I love Google Maps because I can show people where I'm originally from, because I say Paros and they may think Paris in France, but no, it's Paros, Greece, a little island. And only one of those tavernas have reviews that pop up, but all of them that are by my house are quite nice. There are like thousands of them here. And yeah, I guess before this happened in Google Maps, there was TripAdvisor that you'd use to be able to see the reviews of a place and try to have a hit list of the things that you want to see. But there is always some controversy from the people running the restaurants saying, oh, this person didn't actually order, or this is an unfair review, and put it down. And of course, you do need a great way to be able to moderate this, but you should never give in to the restaurants that want to, of course, preserve their image and they want to see the 5 stars and people to come there. It's just all about keeping everyone honest here.
Yeah, sure. Yelp and TripAdvisor and things like that are still possibilities and places to look for reviews like that.
Isn't Yelp what Google Maps is using behind the scenes? Or is that Apple Maps? Oh no, Apple Maps is the one that has Yelp.
Apple Maps.
I see.
Yeah, but I think what Google Maps provides you is like a one-stop shop, right? You see the directions, you see the places information, you see the pictures, and you also get the reviews. So it's all in one.
So how would you review a beach?
So you can search for you search for the place, and then sometimes we'll allow you to review.
No,
Yeah,
I
like
mean
this one.
you personally, like the other person leaving a review, and the 110 people leaving a review of the beach in front of my house in Greece, in Paros. Like, how would you rate this? Like, what would be there? We kind of know what we value when it comes to food and a taverna, but how would you rate beach? I guess the colors, is it clean? Like that sort of thing. Makes sense,
Yeah.
really.
That's what people did with the Norwegian Sea. They said very salty, 5 stars. Sometimes people like salty places. So yeah.
Made me thirsty. It was too salty. But yeah, there must be like a level of magnitude where beach, okay, you can you can rate. Like sea, maybe it's a bit too much. Although I would be able to say that the Ionian Sea, for example, is less windy, so better for sailing than the Cyclades, which are famously super windy. So if you don't know what you're doing, you probably shouldn't be sailing there. If you're looking for a chill time, if you're looking to recreate famous movies like The Castaway, then maybe that's where you should be going.
Yeah. And I don't think Google allows you to review countries, which is probably a good thing.
Definitely for the best.
Yeah, they want to avoid hate speech for sure. Yeah.
So for small features that we never talk about, I did mention that Google Earth is the one that has the cool views that do pan as you look, and nowadays they even do the drone style shot of things, which is not doing it for me now, but hey, that's fair enough. But do you know that Apple Maps has the London Eye spinning and small little landmarks like that?
Oh, Easter eggs. These are the perfect apps for it.
They are quite neat. You can see the London Eye spinning, and I'm not sure what the other Easter eggs they have, but they are neat. Like when you use them and you notice them, you're like, that's cute, but it's definitely not a selling feature. It's not like, oh, you need to switch to Apple Maps because the London Eye is spinning there.
Yeah, that's a feature creep for sure. If you're MVPing something, it's like you have to spin.
We can't release until this thing spins. If you can't see the Sagrada Familia being built in the real time, if you can't see the cranes like putting stuff on, no, we cannot do it.
Yeah, it's all simulation because the pictures on Google Maps, they are updated between 1 and 3 years on average. So yeah, you never get like, maybe you're lucky and you're getting like a very recent picture, and maybe the most popular spots in the world get more pictures, updated satellite pictures. But
yeah, definitely. So for when I was living in Greece, I'd be eagerly awaiting for updated sat-nav pictures, and it never come. But it's always fun to see landmarks being built, for example, where you can see something being built, like a new stadium. Now it's up, people are in there, and you go to Google Maps and it's still construction. Or for Bishopsgate as well in London, a huge building that is now up. You could see it slowly being built, and every like a year or two you get the update of the latest state of it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And how crazy is Street View, right? They mapped most streets in the world by putting a car driving around or sometimes walking with a camera in the head. Um, it's pretty insane.
Yeah, if managed to make it this far without talking about Street View, where you can drop your person or click on any place that you're in Google Maps, click something, and then you go to the Street View that the Google car has gone there, has gotten a 360 view, and then you can kind of be there as a real person from street level. That's why they call it Street View.
Yeah, it's really an insane work to do that and to have done that in so many places. And it even goes like underwater sometimes. Yeah, I guess they were on a boat. This time Google with the Google badge. You can see the guy has a Google badge.
The Google Carmobile can turn into a boat and
Yeah.
take these lovely pictures from the lake.
So yeah, they go on the boats, they go in submarines, they go in cars, and they essentially take pictures of every corner of the world.
So
Not
would you
every
say
corner.
if you're building a Google Maps competitor, is Street View MVP feature? We need to have this or else we cannot launch, will be destroyed?
Oh, it's not an MVP feature, I think. And I think the cost to actual value to customers, I'm not sure. The cost to actually map and take pictures of streets and every corner that wants to be mapped seems quite high for the value that actually delivers. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, you can just link to Google Street View at that point. You can't have that be your market feature because they have such a head start. They have an army of automated cars taking the pictures now. You'll never be able to catch up with their Street View. So you
Yeah,
must
never.
look into something else to have it be your unique selling point.
For sure. And Google is based on user generated content as well, Google Maps. And we could think that a lot of people are taking 360 pictures now, and this is actually being fed into Street View. So it's also Google user generated content in that way.
So, should we pivot into our own feature creeps, our ideas to make Google Maps even better, or maybe USPs? So, if you were to do your Google Maps competitor, don't try it. But if you were, what would be super cool to have?
Let's go. Let's go.
Do you have any you'd like to start with?
It's a very complete app, but yeah, I have a few ideas. And the first ones, I think I'm going to stay away from AI and AR.
Oh no.
Because the last episodes we've been heavy on AI and AR. But there are little things that we can do that would be fun, but not sure if it would make much value. I would say for all the customers. But one thing that you mentioned is like you were waiting for the updated pictures or the satellite pictures of your area in Greece and of the islands. And one thing that would be nice is like to be able to time travel and see the pictures from like years ago and then go through the years. I think a lot of like blogs and websites does that, and then they keep the pictures. But I'm not sure, and I couldn't find a way to do that in Google Maps. It would be nice to see on Street View, for example, how things change, and then when you're visiting that place, because you have the Google timeline that shows your latest visits and the places you've been ever, if you allow Google to keep that data. And you can see how it used to look when you visited the place and how it looks now.
Yeah, for sure. Time travel Street View or time travel Google Maps would be awesome. That would be my number one feature as well. But you can go further with this. Of course, like the Street View is already like prime material for AR. You want to put in a headset and just look around like this. And they do have the updated picture, so you can probably see it through the ages as far as Google Maps has been around. But could they do something where they try to recreate how it would have been in the past, like 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 2000 years ago? You could go to the Parthenon, the Acropolis, and see, 2000 years ago, it had a golden statue in there. What's that about? That would be extra feature on this extra cool feature that you already mentioned. So time travel, but further back, not just from real photos, try to create how it used to look 100 years ago and more.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. I know there are some companies that try to create like virtual tourism with an app, and then you navigate the city by yourself, and then you point to things, and you will see the ruins of a place turning into how the place actually looks like with like AR. So in a similar way, you time travel and you learn, and you do like this free walking tours with the virtual tourism app. But it makes a lot of sense for Google Maps and Street View to do that, and it'll be awesome to see those.
Rome is another amazing place to do something like that in because it's full of wonderful ruins, and walking in Rome always leaves me awestruck. It's literally awesome, not in the way that we usually more casually do it nowadays. It's just inspiring. And being able to see what it used to look like when this was modern, when this was just built, would be insane.
That's great. Good start for feature creeps.
With generative AI, you mentioned that there are some comments that are looking into it. Do you think like it's in our near future? Is it not as insane tech as we think that you'd be able to say, here's the current photo, here's some things we know about how people used to dress back then, how they used to paint things. So try to make a picture, like try to make a realistic mock-up of how it could have been back then.
Yeah, I think we are very near that point. Yeah, when I ask for generative art of a place in the 40s, for example, I asked for my hometown, Florianopolis in Brazil, how it used to look in the 40s in oil painting. And it gives me a pretty like decent view of that. And I think, yeah, we are not so far from that point where you can actually generate how the world used to look like in an approximate good enough way.
I guess the danger there is that some information will get lost or will lose the perception of reality. As it happens with humans, really, your memory just recalls the latest instance of you trying to recall that memory, so it kind of gets more fuzzy over time. So if you ask generative AI to give you a picture of what was Florianopolis in the 40s, you'd be like, oh yeah, that looks correct. But you weren't there. And even if you were there, now it's like 80 years later, and you see this, and it's like, oh yeah, that looks about right. And every time you see a new picture that the generative AI does, then it looks more and more like you think it looked like back then. So you may be losing quite a lot of information.
Yeah, it's all sort of a construction of how it maybe look like. And the problem is in the future when this start being consumed by AI and how the present looks like and how the past before the current present look like, it will be just fake on top of fake. And that's
Yeah,
scary.
currently AI has a lot of problem with like hands and puts in extra fingers and stuff like that. So people in the future may be like, oh, they're like cool times this 2020s, but why did everyone have like six fingers or seven fingers? When did we evolve out of that? What happened there?
Yeah, it was all to type. They'll be like, oh, we're always typing
Ah,
like
they were typing a lot. It makes sense. The theory checks out. Now we just talk to the computer.
yeah, no one types anymore.
Now we are the computer. We just think.
Yeah, sure. Ooh.
Nice. So I did love the time travel AR idea. Kind of extended to make it more AR and more fake, I guess. But it's a narrative. Let's say it's a narrative, not fake. I will give a small one, like a convenience one, because Google Maps does have so many features as we talked about that it's hard to say here's a new one that I want, but I want to improve the existing ones. And one of them would be for navigation, where it does tell you you need to go to this place and you need to turn right in like 500 meters. I would love, and I cannot believe that it hasn't been done yet, to be able to hear in 3 minutes, turn right. Because I understand 3 minutes and the passage of time a bit better than 500 meters when I'm cycling or when I'm in a car or when I'm just walking. So I'd love for the assistant to be able to tell me in 3 minutes turn right versus in 500 meters turn right.
That makes a lot of sense because I did some research before for other products, and how people, the perception of people on time versus distance. And here, yeah, exactly, that's the result. Like people understand time better than meters or miles or feet.
Oh,
Not even
so
getting into
that's not
that.
Johnny Quick. That's the average person does actually understand time better than units.
Yeah, you were within the average person
Nice.
for sure.
Another one that I'm thinking about is something that you've done already, I believe, which is the halfway pint type of situation where you want to meet up with a friend. You're on place A and the other friend is on place B. Like, where should we meet to catch up? And you had an app for this.
Yeah, halfway pint London, something I created where um, we I just started showing places that in London. I just got like a list of pubs and I put all in the map. So you put like 2 postcodes and you see the places that are in between you and someone that you're meeting. So it's very simple app, but it was solving a problem. And actually, I still get access like 2 years later without zero marketing. People still remember this app exists and they use it. I don't know who this person is. If you're listening to this, just let me know.
It has a cool name though. Then I said like halfway pint because it made sense, not necessarily that that was the literal name of the app.
Yeah, the name comes from my friend Joe, who's a writer, and he comes up with every name of every app I ever built. So he's pretty
Nice.
good at this.
Other hits include Tuber, which was should you tube
Yeah,
and take the subway, take the tube, or use an Uber to go somewhere.
yeah, those are good ones for sure.
But this is talking to Google Maps behind the scenes, I suppose, right?
Yeah, just rendering Google Maps and rendering a few spots on the in there.
So there are quite a few apps like that that are using the Google Maps APIs, trying to combine a few other things and do something new. And you have the Google Chrome extension that may place you in a random place in the world every time you open a new tab. I kind of like those. I wouldn't necessarily want them integrated to Google Maps itself, but I do think they're worth highlighting quickly.
Yeah, they're nice. Should we move on to another feature creep?
Please do.
All right. One feature that I really like in Google Maps is showing how busy places are. It's busier than usual, less busy than usual, and things like that. And one thing that I think we could build, Johnny, and it's very interesting to have, is allow places to live stream on Google Maps, just like what is currently happening there. How does it look from inside the restaurant? Maybe you can blur some faces as Google does in the Google Street View. But knowing, like seeing the place, how it looks like, is actually much better than that bar that says like busier than usual and things like that. What do you think of that?
It's very interesting because there is like a threshold of whether if a place is like too dead, then you don't want to go there. But if it's too busy, you also don't want to go there. You want to
Yeah.
go there when it's just right. So exposing that information would be cool, but would it cause like the paradox of saying like, oh, people don't take the highway because it's full of traffic. Like no one takes the highway because it's always jammed. And that doesn't make sense. If no one really didn't take the highway, then it wouldn't be jammed. So exposing the information of whether this is busy or not, showing that now it's empty, would it cause literally no one to ever go there and that place would be empty forever? If it's showing that it's at that threshold where it's awesome, would it immediately become jam-packed because people would rush to get there in time? I don't know, but it's definitely something quite cool. And Google does offer their own cameras, which I do use at home as well. So it should be easy for them to do something like that. I'm sure lots of businesses would be able to have the Google product of the Google Cam, and then if Google is in there, if they have like if they are in the Nest ecosystem, I'm sure they can do something with Google Maps to integrate that functionality and just live stream what's happening there.
Yeah, and you can even so for some people, for example, it's useful to know if the kitchen is clean and things like that. You put like a camera in the kitchen.
We have a few
of a
friends who
restaurant.
are chefs or children of chefs, and I think they would tell us like never look at the kitchen
Yeah,
if you want to enjoy your food. Like
but maybe if
you
you're
hope
proud of
that
it.
the health standards and the hygienic standards, you see the star ratings there, and it should be clean. But don't look what exactly is happening there. It may ruin your appetite.
Yeah, for sure. But I think the busier than usual is also like showing how busy the places are and expanding to live stream maybe. And one other idea is to show busier than usual, but with like people that are like you. That's like I'm feature creeping a lot, and that's like something that's probably not gonna happen. Might be inappropriate, but it goes into like these people that are there, they have the same political views as you. So let's
Yeah,
go there.
usually
Get
we
super
have
biased.
awesome like diversity and inclusion ideas. Here's how to make things more diverse and
This is
more
the opposite.
inclusive. This one's the opposite. This one is like how to hang out with people exactly like you.
Yeah, it's like let's get super biased and just this place is busy with people with like leftly
Perfect echo chamber.
thinking. Yeah, so maybe not that one.
So live streaming is definitely cool. Do you think the kids nowadays or the people nowadays would be willing to go to a place that is live streamed? Would that make it more exciting to them, or would they be like, if there's live stream happening there, I don't want to show up. I'm not gonna visit this place.
For me, it's hard to answer. I don't understand the kids nowadays.
How about you? If you saw that it had like a notice outside a restaurant and it's saying this is getting live streamed on Google Maps, would you be like more willing to get in there or not?
I think so. I have this filter that's a black box that I don't understand how it works. But when I see a place, I feel like it's something I want to do, something a place I want to be, or maybe a place I don't want to be. But I don't know exactly the criteria that my head processes.
You know it when you see it.
Yeah, it's like I know when I look at it. So for that thing that I do, it would be super useful, and I'll definitely use it.
Yeah, I am a nerd, so I'd be like live streaming. That's that's new. Let's do it. New tech. Let's see how it works. Let's check it out for sure. I'd be maybe less willing to do it for restaurants because eating is awkward and watching people eat is awkward. But if it's something like a pub, like fun conversations, if it's something competitive like pool or ping pong or something like that, definitely I'd be well in to that. I'd be more likely to visit a live streamed ping pong table tennis place than a non live streamed one.
For sure. And also like bars and stuff, I also like that. But you could show the like an animation. You get the live stream video and you turn into sort of animation, so you don't actually show the real faces and you show some sort of characters, cartoon-ish style. So you don't expose anyone and you don't see anyone eating weird or doing anything weird. It's just cartoons, but you have an idea how the place looks like.
That's cool. So running through like a cartoon filter or something that has the parameters. I think some places do that. I remember for the Olympics, the last Olympics, there were quite a few sites, the times that were doing a representation of the race, like the swim race, any race really, and it had cartoon avatars of the people, and it's just behind the scenes, the times, the people, and you just saw them going on the track and who won. But I think that's something you would be able to do with tech, kind of like a Sim City or City Skylines, I guess. Like you have the data, how busy it is, and you just feel like cartoon avatars there, and maybe you even know what they order, but you don't. You make it cuter when they eat, like how Garfield is kind of cute and more abstract than how a literal person is.
Yeah, I think it's super feasible nowadays, and maybe Google will come up with something similar soon.
So yeah, that'd be cool. Now I'm all in. I was curious about the live stream idea, but thinking that you can have an AI layer on top, something that would obfuscate the people and make them be cartoon avatars of themselves, or not necessarily representative of themselves, but just of the general situation, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's in general a practice that AI makes it better. It makes more things possible. Just removing the fear of exposing people, and then you just replace with something else, and I think that makes more ideas possible, like this one.
Nice. So an idea that I have, again, it's not as ambitious. It's mostly like let's make an existing feature better, but it would be either I've finished my stay in a place, a restaurant or wherever. I gave 5 stars. And then Google Maps pops up saying, did you know that there is a very similar place in Hong Kong that's like this? So a similar place to the one I've just been that's within my range or not, somewhere else in the world. I think that'd be cool, and that may be inspiring for me to schedule a trip there. And conversely, if I am actually in another place, kind of like the test profile that they have for Google Maps to be able to tell me, you've been to this restaurant and that restaurant, you like those. Around here, there are these types of situations that you may like. So kind of like the taste maps that they already have, but better, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think Google does something similar where like places you've been, oh, this is similar to that place that you've been. In Google Maps currently, I've seen that before. It's sort of like the Netflix feature of this is 98% match of your taste and things like that, suggesting things. But yeah, I like the idea of after your review, you get like, oh, this place is exactly the same as in the other place in Hong Kong. So you should just fly to Hong Kong now and go to that.
Yeah, that's more new. The taste profile in Matsin is exposed, but I don't think they expose quite well why they think that this is 97% similar to your taste. They don't tell you, oh, it is because you went there, there, and there. They know, but I find it hard to unearth that information from them. But yeah, it's more fun to say, I just went there, left a good review. Here's a suggestion of where you could go somewhere way else in the world that you wouldn't be thinking of yourself.
Yeah, and just a link towards something that Google been trying to do, which is gamification on Google Maps, trying to make you to go to other places and give you like badges and things for reviewing places. But do you think there's more gamification that can be done on Google Maps, maybe as a feature creep?
Yeah, for sure. So Squarespace, not Squarespace, that's a sponsor of some podcast, but not us. Was it Square? What was the name of?
Foursquare.
Foursquare, of course. That was a big thing for a time, and still for us engineers, use case of why you shouldn't unbundle your unique selling points like that. But that's by the by. Foursquare was huge. You were supposed to check in the places that you frequent, and if you check in a lot, you become the mayor and you're like the hero of the place. And there are lots of ways you can expand on that, and it was one of the earliest super successful examples of gamification. So even just that in Google Maps would be quite cool for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's lots that can be done. I remember at some stage they put like Mario Kart on Google Maps that you could play on the streets of talking, things like that. That's a different kind of
Pac-Man as well was a big one,
yeah,
a good one.
Pac-Man. So there are lots of those little things that can be done once you have control of the maps of the world, I guess.
Yeah, I guess Pokemon Go in Google Maps would also be like that. So if you are near a place, instead of the Pokemon Go app or any game app, if you're near a place in Google Maps, then you can catch Pokemon, I guess, or you can catch a specific thing, unlock a badge, something like that. I think that would help drive engagement with the Google Maps, but is it something that I want? Really? I don't know. I do like the brand partnerships, but I would be loving to catch Pokemon when I'm out and about, but there is a dedicated app for that, so I don't think Google Maps would be able to absorb it.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense.
Are there any gamification features that you're thinking about that we didn't mention?
Not really. I just thought it was a good trigger for ideas.
Yeah, I guess people voting your reviews and you getting the badge that you're a great like guide or tutor or reviewer, that gives you some sense of compliments. But I don't think that's heavily exposed in Google Maps. Maybe because the review functionality isn't like the prime thing, but maybe it should be.
Yeah.
What, besides the reviewing things, is there anything else that could be gamified in Google Maps?
Maybe like things that are walking distance or distance walked, or things you've done, things you know, the exploration of the world as a person could be something that could be gamified, I guess.
So another idea I had for Google Maps is kind of educational, for Google Maps to be able to tell you, oh, you're trying to go there, but there is a similar place to that somewhere else in the world. So if you're close to the Eiffel Tower, then it would tell you, you know, there's also this picture that looks very similar to where you are now, and it's actually like in Las Vegas, where there's like a replica of it. And I think that'd be a neat way to be able to expand your horizons. And of course, there is a game that we may play later, GeoGuessr or Geotastic, those types of games where they just show you a picture of Street View and you try to guess where you are in the world. I would like a surprise me, I guess, section of Google Maps that would actually be keeping score of how well I'm able to guess where I am in the world. But as I said, there are now dedicated games that are doing just that.
Yeah, sure. Should we just drop in another feature creep before we move on into the game?
Please do.
All right. So I was just thinking, I think a lot about teleportation, and because I think that would solve so many problems, also cause so many problems. So I always think about maybe I should write a science fiction or something about that, because it's incredible how would be the most disruptive thing to ever exist in the world if you could teleport somewhere. It would solve the whole environmental problem of traveling by a car or plane or anything that can disrupt the environment. And it would cause a lot of problems because people, well, if you just rematerialize yourself somewhere, people would believe, maybe it's not yourself. Where's your soul? And also, people could be maybe in the same spot of the world at the same time. So that's the thing that you mentioned. Like it can cause the highway problem of, the highway is always busy, so let's everyone avoid the highway and go through the small roads, and then the small roads are busy. So teleportation is like, where's the funniest place in the world right now? The most fun place. Let's go. Berlin is a rave. So then everyone teleports there. Then 7 billion people just fall on top of each other. So
let alone of people that may want to teleport inside banks and get all the money and teleport out.
Yeah, exactly. So it will cause a lot of problems, but that let's roll back a bit into Google Maps. And I think maybe just like a fun app where you teleport me to the where things are happening in the world right now, the busier as usual feature. Teleport me the busiest place right now, just drop me in there, tell me what's going on, and just show me some simulation of the things that are going down there.
So I guess you're not saying you are in Street View, you click a button and then you teleport there. I think that's beyond the reach of tech, of our current tech. I don't think we'd be able to see this anytime soon. But you are saying click a button and then I'm in a random Street View place, like in a, not a random one where it's really happening, like a really vibing place in the world right now.
Yeah, exactly. And it would show you some sort of simulation of why is it vibing and what's happening there.
All right, I like that. So not surprise me, but somewhere in the world is vibing. You're in there. Yeah. Why is it vibing? Maybe like it gives you hints, or it just drops you there in that place, and you're trying to understand why is it vibing. Maybe you get it. Maybe you see everyone dancing. Maybe there's like a nice sunset. But then after a while, it will tell you, oh, it's actually vibing because X reason. If you're not able to get the vibes just from the view.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to drop teleportation into the episode. We haven't done teleportation yet.
Yeah, teleportation, of course, would be a disruptive feature, but I think it's beyond ours. And philosophical discussion as well. There is so much material that is going into, like, what happens in Star Trek when they teleport. Like, is the soul traveling with them? Do they have a soul? Does the original person get killed and then you have a clone there? Would you still do it if that was the case?
Yeah.
Many questions there. I
imagine like the future, if anything like this happened, it would have like the people that are pure and never teleported, and then they'll be like, I'm the original form.
Yeah, I just don't teleport. I'm a non-teleporter. Wake up, Sipple. If you teleport, you die, so you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
However, it has always been, and I think people are wising up to this, thinking that teleportation is the OP superpower to choose if you are to ask. If you have a genie and it tells you I'm going to give you one superpower, teleportation, easy. From what's in Dragon Ball back in the day, I know that the most powerful ability would be to be able to instantly transmission somewhere else in the world. If I didn't have to worry about, did my soul come with me? In Dragon Ball, definitely it's the same person, so it's fine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Any more feature creeps?
I think we're good.
All right. So, should we just try to have some fun and play some Geotastic and see if I actually am as bad at locating myself as I let on.
Let's go.
Oh, we may need to watch an ad, so we need to
Prueba
entertain the
ProPlan
people.
Skin and Coat para la suavidad
It's
y el
Spanish,
brillo
so
de
it's
tu
fine.
gato. Sabroso y fácil de administrar una vez al día. Desarrollado con veterinarios, favorece una piel saludable y un pelaje brillante. ProPlan Skin and Coat. Comienza hoy.
I do have a dog. I don't know how we get there. I do look at cat pictures quite often. All right, how many rounds?
Just play a quick one.
Let's do three. 3 places.
Yeah. Sure.
Prepare yourself. All right. I was like, what is this?
Prepared.
Oh,
Oh,
Corredor do Meio. Don Feliciano.
let me expand that. That is in Portuguese, so I guess we got some advantage there. The way that's written, it makes me believe that's not Brazil, but there's a billboard there. Maybe we can have a look at that.
Ooh, we're going into deep in investigation. However, billboard is gone.
And then we time travel because it's now sunny.
Yeah, no billboard there.
Here we go.
Bem-vindos.
Encruzilhada do Sul. Well,
Could be Brazil.
That could be Brazil. Yeah, that bus stop does look.
So we're thinking either Portugal or Brazil because of the Portuguese?
It could be one of the Portuguese islands.
Yeah, they have many territories there.
Like maybe I should know where it is, but I have a hunch that it is in Brazil
Sure.
because these names are a bit weird for Brazil. Encruzilhada, it's maybe would be.
It does look like 2 island vibes though than mainland Portugal.
So maybe Madeira would be a good guess but Madeira has mountains and I don't see any.
I don't see Ronaldo either, so I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
no Ronaldo references. But well, do you want to drive a bit more around? One more click.
Oh, we have 1 minute to go.
Oh no. Oh, there's something that doesn't interest you.
Yeah,
That could be Brazil now that I realize.
Brazil is huge. Like we have a higher chance of hitting Brazil as the correct country because of the land area.
Yeah, I think I would guess south of Brazil. Like
All right,
further south.
lock it in. It's kind of hard
We have
to
40 seconds.
track here. Sorry,
Waze.
with my trackpad, I'm trying to go there.
Yeah.
All right, so souther than Sao Paulo.
Where you see Porto Alegre,
Yeah,
like down there. Yeah, just drop in the middle of that state there, somewhere.
in the middle of Porto
Yeah.
Alegre.
The state, so like where Cruz Alta is or Santa Maria near that.
Here?
Yeah,
All right, I'm doing Cruz Alta here.
yeah. Just drop it there.
Finish guess. Wow. Well done.
Yes.
Well sleuthed.
Well, do Sul means from the south, so the name of the city, and it felt. I drove there once through those roads, and it felt like a bit like those roads. So.
Very
it was
good.
an advantage.
All right, let's see if we can do another one. English. So now I know that you are supposed to read the signs, I guess.
Okay, total.
Capitol Hill.
It's not the UK.
Sounds American, to be honest, but could be Canadian as well. Societe Generale. Oh, that's not.
There's some. Coca-Cola.
No, that may be an embassy. It's just an embassy, I guess.
Ghana. It says Ghana there.
Where?
In the board where I was saying Societe Generale.
Yeah, but is it an embassy of Ghana?
No, I think it does look like it could be Ghana.
All right, and this is where I get exposed by not being able to find Ghana. Oh, I'm able to do it actually, thanks to the pop-up.
It should be one of the big ones because if it has like a consulate or something, so maybe Accra or
I'll try Comastas because it's more in the middle.
But it does look like a coastal because you don't
All
see
right,
the
Accra.
from the horizon view. It feels like a coastal place.
All right, I'm gonna guess here. Wow. Cape Coast? Nice.
Yeah.
A nice name. You're awesome at this.
I
Right.
actually I am really good at this thing. Maybe I should just do that for a living.
We have one last one, so save your balls for the end, just in
It's time
case
to
we drop the
embarrass
ball here.
ourselves.
Here you
Oh.
go. No signs, no nothing, just cloudy weather. And some
very
cars
dry.
that look like old cars.
Yeah.
Cuba, probably not.
Cloudy and dry. Toyota. It could be sort of like one of the deserts in the middle of like Kazakhstan or something like that. People are driving on the right, so oh, there's a sign there.
Ooh,
Oh, it's in Arabic. That's good hint. Yeah, so it could be like Saudi Arabia.
could
Or
be
Jordan,
anything here.
Yemen, Jordan. I think it's more down the coast because the middle of the country it wouldn't have those many clouds.
So you want to go close to the Persian Gulf?
I would say either Yemen or Jordan or
Oman?
Yeah. Oman, yeah, it could be Oman.
Getting some
Try
Oman
that.
vibes. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go with Oman.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, maybe.
Ah, Jordan, you were right.
Wow, here we go. Damn,
Nice.
I'm actually okay at this game.
Well done.
This is fun. I love playing those.
All right, so everything was under my name, thankfully. Great score for me. It's paired geoguessing. That was quite fun. You were good at this. On the last one, I tried to do a Hail Mary, but you were right with Jordan. Nice.
Good stuff.
All right, I think with this, we're done for the day.
Awesome.
Anything else you'd like to raise about Google Maps?
I think that's it. I think we covered quite a lot, and I'm sure there's lots more to cover on Google Maps because it's an app that encapsulates the entire world.
The word and more in Google Maps and Google Earth and the similar cartography ones. We didn't talk at all about cartography, which I do miss, and it's like a very, very big thing. But maybe next time. As always, let us know in the comments or reach out in regards to what you'd like us to cover next. We are technical people, but we are willing to talk about marketing stuff, about everything really. And we love covering things that you are interested in. So let us know. It's been a pleasure today, Joao. As always, great episode. I hope everyone has a lovely day. Any last words from you, Joao?
All good. Thanks so much, Johnny. Thanks everyone for